Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend DG Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
Hi, this is Dan Jurgens, and you are listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
What's that? Look up in the sky. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's an electric mullet. Welcome back, everyone, to Electric Mullet, the Superman podcast. Your journey through all things, all comics, all DC Comics Superman, from John Byrne's Man of Steel onward. I am Phil, and this time I am alone. Those evil manhunters have captured my co-hosts, Tyler and Justin. But that's all right, kids. We got plenty to talk about tonight because, yes, we are going to talk the Millennium crossover issues of Superman, which are Superman's 13 and 14, Adventures of Superman 436 and 437, and Action Comics 596. And for those of you who are like, what the heck is a Millennium? We will go through that too. All right, so luckily I have the handy dandy iPad here, and for those of you who want to know what the Millennium was, well, mainly Millennium was the 1988 event from DC Comics. Well, towards the end of it, 1987, cover dates were like January and February 88, I think. Yeah, so it's kind of like end of 87, early 88. So, all right, but here we go, straight from the DC Fandom website. Millennium was a weekly crossover event published in 1987. The core storyline was an 8-issue miniseries written by Steve Englehart with illustrations by Joe Staton. Every ongoing series being published at the time received crossover tie-ins to the event. The story involves a Guardian and Zamaron visiting Earth to start the next wave of human evolution. 10 humans are chosen to advance and become immortals given special powers. They are attacked by Manhunter agents, part of an alien conspiracy posing as close friends and relatives to every single superhero. Eventually, this new breed of heroes becomes the new Guardians. All right, so that's basically the summary of the event. All right, so we have some history, and then we'll get into our Superman issues here. But yes, basically, this thing hit pretty much every DC title at the time. And everyone had like a secret Manhunter agent in their life, including Superman. We're going to get there. All right, but this says, having previously left to repopulate their species, Harupa, Hando, Hu, and Nadia Saphir returned to Earth, which is basically our one Guardian of the Universe and one Zamaron. They call a meeting of the superheroes and announce that Earth will be home to the universe's next immortal race. These immortals will be among 10 chosen people whom the superheroes must protect from their enemies. The Manhunter Grandmaster calls a meeting of their secret cult, announcing that they will reveal themselves to attack the Chosen. These agents include Dirk Davis, Harry Hadley, Lana Lang, spoilers, Marcy Cooper, Mary Frances Cassidy, Mr. Smith, Rudy West, father of Wally West, and Miss Hunter. Tom Kalamaku is caught spying on their meeting, then beaten and left for dead. The humans chosen by Harupa and Nadia include Betty Clawman, Takio Yakata, Harbinger from Crisis on Infinite Earths, Xiang Po, Nikolai Latikov, Celia Windward, remember that name, she'll come up later, Salima Baranzir, Jan Willem Croef, Giorgio de la Vega, and Tom Kalamaku, who is Hal Jordan's best friend once upon a time, and the Floronic Man. Yes, the Floronic Man. Jason Woodrow, the villain, who was also responsible for giving Poison Ivy her powers. It's revealed that the Manhunters learned everyone's secret identity through access to Harbinger's archives, which, again, Crisis. President Reagan, because remember, kids, this is the 80s, comes out in support of the heroes on television, a reversal of his criticism during Legends, which we talked in previous episodes. Scroll down. Selima Baranazar is stoned to death by a mob. Nikola Latikov is executed by secret police. The Outsiders protect Takio Yakata. Infinity Inc. protect Betty Clawman. The Justice League protects Celia Windward. Wonder Woman protects Jan Willem Cruyff. The Flash protects Giorgio de la Vega. And the Green Lanterns protect Zhang Po. Harbinger is captured on the Manhunter homeworld. Floronic Man is released from Arkham Asylum by a Manhunter agent. Harupa and Nadia take the Chosen to learn their cosmic secrets. Batman traces the Manhunters back to their headquarters in a Louisiana swamp. Booster Gold infiltrates their ranks by pretending to defect. John Economos sends the Suicide Squad on a search and destroy mission. Madame Xanadu helps the Spectre find their location after she is attacked. Floronic Man is influenced by the Manhunters to betray his peers. Manhunter base is destroyed in Louisiana, their sonic temple, removing the threat from Earth. The Chosen learn the secrets of the universe. Harbinger escapes with the help of Drick. The Justice League decides to end them once and for all by attacking Orinda, the Manhunter homeworld. The heroes fight against Time Master, the mother of all Manhunters. It escapes and swears to hunt down the Owens. Dr. Fate transports them to another dimension, but only Superman and Green Lantern can function there, which we will also get to. Booster Gold fights Batman and Guy Gardner as a traitor. The Chosen awaken from their transcendental state, and Cruyff refuses to continue as they conflict with his racist ideals. Floronic Man is swayed by their ideals and turns to the side of good. Well, for now. Blue Beetle discovers that the Manhunters have a last secret headquarters underneath the Earth's surface. Fate takes his team back to Earth, and Harbinger returns with them. Harupa and Nadia finish teaching their pupils. The heroes track down the Manhunter underground base and have a final battle with the androids. It's climactic and explosive, but they take all of them down with no casualties. Booster Gold stops them from destroying the planet with a bomb, but is still taken in for treason. Finally, the Chosen receive their powers. Xiang becomes Gloss, Takio becomes Ram, Giorgio becomes Extrano, Celia becomes Jet, and Betty Clawman becomes one with the planet. Floronic Man decides to keep his own powers, taking the name Floro. Tom Kalamaku also declines, but receives his powers in a latent form of protection. Harbinger has her destiny as one of the Chosen revealed to her. Cruyff swears revenge back in his own country. Now that the Millennium has come, the other heroes say farewell and leave the Chosen to their destiny. So we'll talk a little more about them this episode. Me and my co-host, Mr. Will Allred, have talked about the new Guardians on a previous episode or two of our Green Lantern podcast, Sector 2814, right here on the Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks feed. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, Sector 2814 has its own playlist. So if all you want to listen to is Green Lantern, there you go. Easiest way. All right, kids. Sorry, by myself. So there'll be a slight pause as I take a drink to wet my mouth here. All right. Yes, from what I've read, there was a new Guardians series which I really didn't read. But from the sounds of it, this thing was wowed. Yeah, so basically, as the short version, as we said, members of the Chosen were selected from several nationalities to form a superhero group representative of the entire human race. It was also revealed that Tara, remember her from the new Teen Titans? She was destined to be a member, but died long before. Because remember, she died before Crisis on Infinite Earth. So, yes, had she not died and been a traitor and died, yes, she would have been a new Guardian. But I'm trying to. I did see some weird trivia on this. I know it's one of the weird facts I saw was like one of the supervillains, because again, the new Guardians, I guess, functioned almost as a superhero team. I think it said issue 2, one of their villains received his power by ingesting cocaine, and I'm just like, okay, that's a little the 80s.
Everyone loves cocaine.
Remember, kids, don't try this at home. Hello, Noel Tate. Look at that shiny head all alone on the screen. Oh, you love it. This event freaking stinks. Well, yeah, I mean, again, like the late 80s between like Legends and Millennium. Yeah, these things weren't really well received, I'd say. What was probably the first? What was the first good one after Crisis? That's Armageddon 2001. I don't know about that one. I know Justin can't stand it, but maybe Zero Hour or Zero. But again, nothing has such bad connotations, especially with certain people, because like I know Will hates it because that's when they turned Hal Jordan into Parallax and had him like trying to destroy all of time.
I of course love Hal Jordan.
Odyssey. Okay, yeah, okay. Although they kind of they kind of give the shaft to John Stewart in that one though. Johnny Hellboy on pencils. Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Cosmic Odyssey is good, but like I said, I think they kind of like screwed John Stewart on that one because I don't know, Will and I covered that, and it almost seems like they wanted to use Guy Gardner, but somehow I don't know if they couldn't or they changed their mind. So they kind of made John Stewart was acting very Guy Gardner-ish, and again, yeah, not good. It's the art that makes it good. I know. Screw all the lanterns. How dare you? How dare you? All right. So, all right, kids. So that is the Millennium, basically, in a nutshell. We'll get to these Superman issues here. All right. So and in the midst of Millennium, we get a first appearance or two of well, at least one appearance of an old villain, but a post-crisis version of an old villain. So, all right, and it's here in the beginning. Superman Volume 2, number 13 from January 1998. Toys in the attic. Man, I wonder who the villain's gonna be. Writer and penciler John Byrne, of course. Again, we're living in a Byrne world at the moment. Byrne. That's right. Inker Carl Kessel, colors Tom Zayuko, letterer John Costanza. Can't stand you. And editor Mike Carlin. All right. Superman is summoned by Maggie Sawyer and by British intelligence agents that deal with the problem of one Winslow Shot, a quiet. Oh, wait. Hold on. All right, kids. Since you don't have any sexy Tyler or Justin to look at this week, I decided, yeah, so Noel, doesn't have to look at my ugly face. All right, here we go. There's Superman 13. All right. Yes. Yeah. Superman's called in by Maggie Sawyer and by British intelligence agents that deal with the problem of one Winslow Shot, a quiet, nice little man who loved to make toys, who one day was laid off by his employers, who considered his toys to be too old-fashioned and useless. Yeah, because his boss is even like, "Oh yeah, you make some nice dolls and teddy bears, but the kids don't want that these days. They want the video games and the skateboards and." So basically, yes, Winslow Shot is too old-fashioned, they're saying, for his chosen profession. So do you think he's going to go postal? And I'll let you stew on this for a few minutes as I do the synopsis, kids. Who do you think the parent company is that owned the company Winslow Shot worked for? I'll give you a hint. It's in Metropolis. All right. Let me just open Superman 13 here so we can discuss this. All right, and all right, so hold on. Desiring revenge, Shot adopted the persona of the Toyman and sent exploding toys to the chief executive officers of the company that fired him. Global Guardian member Godiva confronted this man who attacked her with his killer toys. Now Superman finds out who Toyman's next target is. Lex Luthor, there you go, kids, whose company owned the toy company Shot worked for. As Luthor found a mysterious package in his office that contained a miniature model of his experimental Lex-wing craft, yeah, that's not too suspicious. So yes, mysterious package for Lex.
It was just a really nice package.
Thank you, Ray. Superman confronts Luthor to warn him about the model, with Luthor not trusting Superman, who's goaded into throwing the model into Superman's hands, who then takes it above Metropolis for it to harmlessly explode, protecting Luthor and letting him think whatever he wanted about the Man of Steel's intentions. However, Shot realizes that Superman has foiled his attempt to kill Luthor, so sends a swarm of deadly action figures to contend with Superman. Finding out how explosive these action figures were by using his heat vision, Superman uses his super speed to outrace them and then follow their heat trails upon his return to Metropolis, the track where they came from. Upon arriving at Shot's apartment, Superman finds him missing. In the meantime, Shot is found in a darkened room, supposedly abducted by Luthor and put there for his purposes. Yes, and I'm sure that's he has nothing but the best intentions for Mr. Winslow Shot. Superman returns to his duties as Clark Kent at the Daily Planet. His former girlfriend, Lana Lang, confronts him and tries to expose his identity as Superman by ripping open his shirt, only to find his Superman costume not being under his clothes. She takes off, revealing herself to be a Manhunter agent. Well, yeah, she jumps out the window. And he follows her as Superman as she flies toward her hometown of Smallville. And there's our Millennium connection, kids. And yes, as it says on the cover, this is week 2 of Millennium. Because this, as I said, this was a weekly event. Okay. I must have missed this. This is the first post-crisis appearance of Morgan Edge. Edge is seen as a silhouette only in this issue. Oh yeah, that's right. It's not Luthor. I think it is Morgan Edge who has Winslow Shot. And of course, yes, there were 2 British intelligence agents with Maggie Sawyer, a man and a woman, and they are modeled after John Steed and Emma Peel from the Avengers TV series. All right, so let me get into this because there's a few things I want to discuss here. Once again, great burn art. And I guess a bunch of armored cars or whatever been getting knocked over by these toys. These security guards here kind of get blasted, and one gets killed, basically his head blown off by a toy tank. And then you get a bunch of toy soldiers parachuting in and grabbing all the money from the armored car. That's when you get Superman with the British intelligence agents, who then they explain to him Toyman's origin. Yes, this is funny when they do a quick 2-panel flashback of when Godiva of the global Global Guardians tries to stop Toyman and with her hair. So basically, DC is Medusa, kids, of the for those of you who know Medusa, the Inhumans over at Marvel. Yes. But not as capable. So yeah, this is funny when that Lex is opening this package with the toy Lex Wing, and Superman kind of makes him mad enough to throw the plane to him because Superman's like, I don't want to get in range of that kryptonite ring, and then he's like, wait a minute, because remember, kids, when we covered Superman 10, yeah, remember Superman brought that Clash robot right up the Lex and basically dropped him in his lap. So he's like, wait a minute, he wasn't wearing that ring, so. And right before Superman enters Lex's office, we do see Lex say, "There's something, his hand aches all the time." So yeah, remember that, kids. This is going to come back for this is going to be this is going to lead to a lot of things over many months here, kids. We'll be dealing with this next year, maybe even the year after. So yeah, Lex is on the podcast this year, next year. Yeah, this is going to be a years plot line going through these books of Lex's hand hurts where he wore that kryptonite ring. So yeah, Superman takes the toy plane up in the sky and it explodes. And then the weird thing, Shot sends like a bunch of flying action figures after Superman, which I guess pack enough power to where he can like feel like some of the blasts and stuff. And I guess they all start exploding and stuff and hurting him. So it's so weird. I'm like, really, Superman's about to get taken out by toys? I don't think there's any kryptonite, or they're not magic. So, but then we do see Superman circles around the globe and comes up in the opposite direction, and then he just follows the heat trails to where Winslow Shot's hideout was. But I'm just like, so the drones, I guess we don't get back to these drones. And yes, I know, kids, I know it's a comic. Don't worry about it. But yes, by the time Superman gets there, Winslow Shot is gone. And as we see, yes, a mysterious figure has kidnapped him, which it's supposed to look like Lex because it almost looks like there's a green glowing kryptonite ring. But yeah, no, this is supposed to be Morgan Edge, kids. I almost forgot about that. Yes, this is his first appearance in the shadows. All right, and as I said, yeah, and Lana basically shows up at the Daily Planet all angry and basically tells Clark, yeah, you're not going to interfere with the Manhunters, blah, 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 blah. And because Clark and Superman had already heard about, yeah, the Manhunters have agents in, everyone's life. And then he's like, no, no. He's like, really? That's you, Lana? But yeah, she rips open his shirt. Luckily, on the day, he's not wearing that Superman suit under his clothes. So she jumps out the window and takes off. And again, no one in this city. Well, it almost looks like some people in the city room see her running towards that window. But after that, no one seems to ask too many questions. So yeah, Lana takes off in that Manhunter armor. Clark turns into Superman, and they both head towards Smallville, where yes, the story will pick up in Adventures of Superman 436. All right, so yeah, so just like when I think the last time we did this was Legends, so yes, kids, this is kind of like when we did Legends, where the ongoing event story goes through all 3 Superman books that month, and it's going to go into the 2 of the books in the following month. So yeah, this one's even a little bigger than Millennium. All right, let me pull up Adventures of Superman on here before I do the synopsis, and that'll give you guys a chance if you have the DC Infinite app or the or Comixology or anywhere you read your digital comics, kids. All right, let's see. There we go. Adventures of Superman 436. All right, kids, and a lot of this is if you've been listening to our previous episodes, you will have heard the stuff we covered in the world of World of Smallville. Yes, we did go over some of the Lana Lang as a Manhunter agent there, so I will cover some ground we already went over. So, all right, let's get to Adventures of Superman 436 from January 1988. And once again, I'm almost forgetting here. I'll put the cover up so guys don't have to look at my ugly kisser. All right. There we go. Looks like Superman flat on his back. Who are these people and how could they have taken out Superman? All right. So Adventures of Superman 436, January 1988. Junk writers John Byrne and Jerry Ordway, penciler Jerry Ordway, inker John Beatty, colorist Anthony Tollin, letterer Albert de Guzman, and editor Mike Carlin. Upon his arrival in Smallville, after following Lana Lang in the form of a Manhunter agent, Superman disguises himself as Clark Kent and casually meets with Pete Ross in his office. While outside, young people are behaving rather strangely. Clark's meeting is interrupted by the appearance of Dr. Whitney, the old town physician who never showed up at the Kents to deliver Clark, who distracts him long enough for a stun weapon to take him down. So yes, old town values, high-tech weaponry, kids. Clark wakes up as Superman inside a Manhunter ship, put into restraints that he cannot break out of, and finds that Dr. Whitney was a real Manhunter agent along with his wife. The people that he helped deliver into the world, including Lana, were simply sleeper agents that had Manhunter programming implanted into them. The Manhunters originally intended for Superman to be their Manhunter agent, and so sought to intercept the rocket carrying the Matrix with Kal-El inside it as it was launched toward Earth, because yes, they do announce that they had been keeping an eye on Jor-El, so... however, the Guardians knew they couldn't let a Kryptonian fall into the hands of the Manhunters, and so they sent the Green Lantern Corps to foil their attempt to capture Kal-El. Instead, the Manhunters sent their own agents to kill the real Dr. Whitney and his wife and to take their places in society until such a time as they were needed. As Dr. Whitney goes off to tend to other matters, Superman uses his X-ray vision to scan the ship and finds that the older residents, including Jonathan and Martha Kent, are in stasis chambers. It is then he decides to test his power of flight and finds that he could cause the Manhunter ship to fly just by the power of his will, because yes, he is restrained. Using that ability to his advantage, Superman makes the Manhunter ship fly out of control until Dr. Whitney powers the ship down, enabling Superman to break free of his restraints to confront the Manhunter agent. Dr. Whitney activates a self-destruct mechanism on himself that destroys him. But as Superman turns to look at the sleeper agents to see if they would be freed from the Manhunter's control, he sees that they all died. So yeah, kids. Oh, in this issue also another first appearance. The first appearance of the first post-crisis appearance of Pete Ross, Clark's childhood friend. All right. Yeah, this one is pretty straightforward. Just what I said. Yeah. Superman, after Superman gets captured, he basically gets the whole rundown from the Manhunters, Dr. Whitney specifically, about how, yeah, they were watching Jor-El on Krypton, and they saw when the planet was being destroyed, and they were gonna snatch Kal-El's birthing matrix out of space. But yes, of course, the Guardians sent the Green Lanterns to try to intercept. I mean, the Green Lanterns, well, they didn't fail, but they didn't win the battle. But yes, they won the war, because yes, Clark made it to Earth. And the blizzard, if you remember when we covered Man of Steel in our first episode, and I can't remember if they talked about it again on World of Smallville, but or one of those miniseries. But yes, but they said, the big cover that how Jonathan and Martha Kent said that Martha gave birth to Clark, there was a huge blizzard that snowed them in for a while, so that gave them time to shore up all the details. But in this issue, it's revealed that the Manhunters created the blizzard, because they gave them time. They come to Earth, and when they come to Earth, they kill Dr. Whitney and his wife, and the two Manhunters take their places. And then every child born that's in Smallville from that point on is delivered by a Manhunter, who injects them with a little microchip thing, where it causes them to take control of these humans whenever they want. Which, again, when we covered like World of Metropolis, and we learned that this is when Lana, or no, not World of Smallville, that we learned that Lana had been a sleeper agent for the Manhunters, and she didn't even remember following Clark to Metropolis and spying on him. So, all right. Anything else in this issue? We get so again, Manhunter's causing all kinds of trouble. And again, if you listen to Sector 2814, Will Allred and I are doing Blackest Night at the moment, and yes, by the year 2005, we do learn that the Manhunters, yes, are you think they're bad here? They slaughtered every living thing in Space Sector 666. So once again, the plan of the Guardians goes awry. Who would have thought? All right, so yes, that was the cliffhanger that Superman believes that all his, everyone in Smallville, from a certain point on, it was, born from the time he arrived on Earth till now, was dead. So the only people left in Smallville are the old people. All right, so, and again, all right, so next we are going to get to Action Comics 596. Yeah, the other two books, you'll get two issues of Millennium. Action 596 is the only issue of Action Comics that takes place for Millennium. All right, but we get a guest star, the Spectre kids. Here, let me throw up the cover for 596 here. There we go. Yeah, kids, look at that, the Spectre. All right, so let's get into this. All right, so Action Comics number 5. Oh, I'm sorry. Millennium. The Adventures of Superman 436 was Millennium Week 3. Action Comics 596 is Millennium Week 4. So Action Comics 596, January 1988. Hell is where the heart is. Writer and penciler and one of your inkers, busy man trying to get paid. Our good friend, Mr. John Byrne. Also, the other inker, Keith Williams, colorist Tom Zayuko, returning letterer, John Costanza, and editor, Mike Carlin. All right. So this third part of the Millennium crossover, the Spectre helps Superman confront the truth behind the supposed death of thousands of people in Smallville who were under the programmed influence of the Manhunters by transporting him into a supposed afterlife version of Smallville, where he finds all its people, including Lana Lang, still alive. He also finds a simulacrum of Dr. Whitney as a manhunter who seemingly has the upper hand on Superman until the Spectre reveals the truth behind this afterlife and causes the simulacrum to rip itself apart, freeing the people from his control and bringing them back to life. Superman assures Lana Lang that without the Manhunter programming, no one else but her knows that he is Clark Kent. Because, yeah, the Spectre kind of gives Ma and Pa Kent and Lana and everybody the rundown at the end of the issue at the Kent farm. Because the Spectre knows many things, including Clark is Superman. And yes, the Spectre last appeared before this in the Spectre number 10, and he'll next appear in Millennium number 5. And the Spectre seems to know the complete history of the Manhunters in this issue. But in the Spectre 10, where he appeared, his own book where he appeared right before this, he seemed to have never heard of them before. Oh yes, and for I don't know if this is the reason why the whole afterlife weird thingy convergence works, but yes, it is stated that this issue takes place on Halloween. And it says this issue is reprinted in Superman: The Man of Steel Volume 3, the 2021 edition. And I'm assuming the rest of these are, because that would be kind of weird to not print all the Millennium issues. Because this would seem like this would be kind of out of place. All right, so yeah, I don't know what I can add to that summary there. Again, great art, especially like John Byrne drawing the Spectre. But yeah, the Spectre comes to Smallville because he senses this great evil. But yes, as he comes into town, it says he can sense it's not like mystical. It's not on the spirit plane. It's a more physical evil, which of course is the Manhunters. And again, I don't know if he's like kind of like using a cosmic awareness or something to learn about the Manhunters, because again, in his own book, he didn't seem to know who the Manhunters are, but in the beginning of the action, he kind of gives you a quick summary of 10 billion years ago, and Krona, who basically, for those of you who don't know, he was trying to see the origin of the universe, and basically his experiments it has explosive results and basically results in the multiverse, because again, there was one universe, and then yes, Krona basically creates the multiverse. And again, in Crisis on Infinite Earth, the multiverse was supposedly destroyed and there was only one Earth, but well, wait till the 21st century, kids. Oh yes, and then it says here some of the Owens to try to make up for what Krona's damaged, set themselves up as the Guardians of the Universe. And of course, yeah, they created the Green Lantern Corps. But before that, with disastrous results, they tried to create the Manhunters as their Universal Police. And then it says here, yeah, of course, the Manhunters turned against their masters. Only after a great battle were they ultimately defeated. But now let's see. Yes, it says yes. Are using all these human agents. Basically, this is like another summary of if people haven't been reading Millennium, because it tells you about the Guardians and the Zamarons, who had basically left Earth, and then the new Guardians, and yes, they basically assemble all the superheroes of Earth to defend the new Guardians. But then yes, Spectre arrives at the Manhunter ship and sees that half of Smallville standing around and the other half seemingly dead. So then Superman's reminiscing about what he learned about the Manhunters and Adventures of Superman 436. But yes, he's just very, very down because yes, he thinks half his hometown is dead. But then the Spectre arrives, and then he basically tells Superman that yes, they're not technically dead. But he tells Superman, this could be dangerous. He's like, what if I told you you can maybe save these people, but I guess I have to send you to a plane where you'll basically be powerless? And Superman's like, yeah, do it. So yes, basically it's like a weird black and white world. It almost looks like a black and white Smallville, and at night you always see stars above. And he's talking to Lana there, who doesn't seem to know she's quote unquote dead, and the rest of the residents of Smallville don't even seem to blink when Clark's walking down the street as Superman. That's when Dr. Whitney shows up, the Manhunter. That's when the Spectre basically uses his powers on Whitney and says, "You robbed the young men and women of Smallville of their human freedom, Manhunter. You entered their minds and warped them, treated them as nothing more than biological raw material. Junk." Get the title, kids. "Now I deliver the same fate to you," and makes the Manhunter rip himself apart. And that's when Superman returns back to the real world, well, Earth, and then all the young citizens of Metropolis, who everyone thought were dead, wake up. Superman tries to ask Spectre how, and he's like, "They were never truly dead." But he says, "Yeah, let us depart this place." And then, yes, it is Halloween night. And meanwhile, the Spectre's talking to Superman, Lana Lang, and the Kents, and basically trying to. I thought it was cute here where Ma Kent's like, "It's the Spectre, just like I remember him from when I was a girl." So yeah. Because again, post-crisis, the JSA have been, folded into this world, and they were now the heroes of World War II. So yeah, basically just telling, how Milano had no recollection of her time as a Manhunter agent. When they took her over, she had no memory of this, and that's why they say yes. No one else in Smallville will remember Clark Kent as Superman. So basically, Superman says goodbye to them, and then him and Spectre are like, "Yes, we have something to do. We have to get back to Millennium issue 5." So they fly off. All right, kids, 2 more issues. All right, and it's so weird because we'll get into this. We're gonna jump back to Superman 14, but it's kind of. I almost say it's like the last Millennium issue, because like the next Adventures of Superman issue, I'd say it's kind of like set in like Metropolis, but it's taking place at the same time. You'll see what I mean. All right, but first let's wrap this. We'll kind of sort of wrap Millennium up, because we're gonna get to Superman 14 with special guest star, one of the the favorite Green Lantern of one of my co-hosts, Mr. Will Allred. Well, my co-host on Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. So, and there he is on the cover, kids. And for those of you who are listening to us on the podcast and not watching on YouTube, yes, you may say, who's the Green Lantern on the cover? Will?
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
Yes, Hal Jordan. All right. Which again, Byrne draws a lot of characters so well, but I do like his his Green Lanterns, especially Hal Jordan. Well, most characters I like Byrne drawing, but all right. So let's get to the next part of this. All right, Superman Volume 2, number 14 from February 1988. Last Stand. No, it's not. No, it's not X3, kids. This one's a little bit better. All right. Once again, writer and penciler, Mr. John Byrne. Inker Carl Kessel, colorist Tom Zayuka. Once again, letters. MVP on letters, Mr. John Costanza. And editor Mike Carlin. All right. Powered by the life force energies of various heroes that journeyed with them to confront the Manhunter High Master, Superman and Hal Jordan continue onward through a minefield of energy orbs until they reach the planet where the other Guardians and Zamorons were spending their honeymoon on. The two heroes find themselves separated, with Superman trapped underground, plowing through it in circles, and Hal with his power ring now drained of its energy and facing the High Master alone. Hal manages to contact the Guardians and Zamorons, who are concentrating their abilities on keeping themselves unseen, but that only enables the High Master to blast them once they appear. As Superman finds his way out of the underground trap and zaps the High Master with heat vision, to turn him from yellow to red, kids. Because again, yes, at this point, the Green Lantern rings still have trouble with the color yellow. The Guardians give Hal's power ring a recharge, and immediately he creates, with its energy, an explosive charge that destroys the Manhunter. The Guardians inform the heroes that once the High Master is destroyed, the rest of the Manhunters will go on suicide overload. And this was Millennium Week 6, this issue. Most of the characters that are present during this issue appear as life force energy only harnessed inside the bodies of Superman and Green Lantern. Yes, I guess they were with the Justice League. I can't remember what other heroes were. Here we go. Yes, they were working with the life energies of Arisia, Captain Atom, Dr. Fate, Drake the Green Lantern, Firestorm, Harbinger, Hawkman, Hawkwoman, the Green Lantern, Catman Tui, and Martian Manhunter. So, all right, let me open up this here. Yeah, so the first 3 issues, it kind of like went, Adventures of Superman picked up right where Superman 13 left off, and then Action Comics picked up right where Adventures of Superman left off. But yeah, in the Millennium scheme of things, like an extra week or 2 has passed between Action Comics and this one. So yeah, I believe it might be in the Justice League issue. It's either a Justice League or a Green Lantern issue. Yes, where how Jordan and Superman get charged by the life forces of all these other heroes. But yeah, the issue basically has them tracking the High Master through this weird dimensional thing with basically giving Byrne an excuse to show off his weird art scheme. And again, for people who aren't reading Millennium, Superman basically gives the lowdown on the new Guardians, and then he talks about the battle with the High Master and the other heroes, and yeah, that's when the High Master escaped into another dimension, and Superman and Hal went after him with the supercharged with the energies of these other heroes. And then they come to this big floating platform. It's almost like, and it has like a jungle on it. That's basically where the Guardians and the Zamorons went, because yes, was it after Green Lantern 200? Yes, the Guardians and the Zamorons went off to produce a new race. Yes, kids, ask your parents. Yes, what happens when a Guardian and a Zamoron fall in love? Yes. But yeah, when I say platform, I mean Superman says it looks as big as Texas. So yeah, it's a pretty big little tropical paradise here. So yeah, then when the Grandmaster attacks, Superman's trapped underground and having trouble finding his way out. And somehow the High Master accelerated the time on Hal Jordan's ring, so he ran out of charge. He finds the Guardians, who are basically, and the Zamorons, who are basically low on energy. But yeah, like this summary said, once Superman heats the High Master up and turns him from yellow to red, that's when the Guardians basically use their own personal energies to recharge Hal's ring so he can destroy him. So yeah, that's basically it, because Superman basically just tells Hal how he escaped from the underground trap, and yeah, that's when the Guardians say, "Oh, it's gonna get bad here with the High Master." With the High Master destroyed, the rest of the Banners basically have now nothing left to lose. All right, so again, you know what? For a crossover, and I know, like Noel Tate said, Millennium, not the best crossover. Some of the crossovers this time, not the best, but I think Byrne and like the rest of the Superman team is basically making the best out of this crossover. Because again, when you think, like I said, when you think about it, I mean, we're getting the first post-crisis appearances of Toyman, Morgan Edge, Pete Ross, and again, it's all in the middle of this crossover. So, yeah, I think the Super team doing God's work, basically. Making sure, our actual regular Superman's tales don't suffer because of this. But and I kind of like the the team up with Superman and Hal Jordan. All right, so we're gonna get to our last issue of the night because I don't know if my voice is gonna last here. All right, we'll get to Adventures of, like I said, kids. This one, it has Millennium on the cover, and there's like a kind of a like loose connection. You know, you're not gonna get really much Manhunter action going on here, but you'll here I'll explain. All right, so Adventures of Superman 437, February 1988. Point of view. Writers John Byrne and Jerry Ordway, penciler Jerry Ordway, inker John Beatty, colorist Anthony Tollin, letterer Albert de Guzman, and editor Mike Carlin. All right. On impulse, Celia Windward leaves the Green Lantern Corps Citadel, where she was being protected, to investigate a limousine parked nearby. Its occupant, Lex Luthor, invites her into town for a meal and conversation, and Celia, her curiosity aroused, accepts. Over dinner, Luthor unwinds his tale of a hypothetical battle between Superman and a costume villain called Combator, using his story to illustrate what he sees as the danger inherent in the existence of powerful so-called heroes like the Man of Steel. He concludes by asserting that the entire Millennium Project, dependent on the supposed inherent inner nobility of mankind, is a sham. At the same time, Lois Lane meets social worker Jose Delgado. Remember him from a few issues back? For a movie date. The theater is attacked by the real Combator, endangering lives and destroying property. Combator seizes Lois as a hostage to lure Superman into battle. It is not Superman who answers his challenge, however, but Delgado in his costume identity as Gangbuster. Despite his lack of superpowers, Gangbuster makes a surprisingly strong stand against his super strong armored opponent, causing him to free Lois and preventing him from injuring the surrounding crowd. Finally, using a small device from within his costume, Gangbuster shocks Combator and the supervillain sways, then collapses dead of heart failure. Unfortunately, Gangbuster is terribly injured in the battle. Yeah, basically Combator falls on him, losing the use of his legs. Later, Superman accosts Luthor in his Metropolis office and throws Gangbuster's helmet at his feet. He tells the villain he knows that Luthor is responsible for Combator's creation, and he suggests that Gangbuster's selfless action is a far stronger argument in favor of heroism than Luthor's talk with Celia against it. All right, so you see what I mean here, kids? The only Millennium connections, I think, why this could be a Millennium connection. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put the cover up. The only Millennium connection pretty much is just Celia, the New Guardians, and Superman was busy and couldn't battle Combator, so I'm assuming that's because he was busy with Millennium, like maybe the final battle of Millennium, perhaps. But yeah, okay, there's the cover. Yes, you see Superman fighting Combator on the cover there, but yes, this is Millennium Week 7, this issue. But it's kind of interesting how they illustrate this, because as Luthor's telling his hypothetical story of the Celia, you see like a running battle with Superman and Combator, like in the top half of each page, and then on the bottom half of each page, you see the actual battle of Gangbuster fighting Combator. So yeah, you see basically two versions of this battle. The Superman version and the Gangbuster, which I thought was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty creative of the team. Oh man, come on, DC Universe! I tried to open the issue, and your app's closing on me. All right. But yeah, I really don't know much about this Celia Windward. I didn't get a chance really to reread all of Millennium before this, but I'm like, if you're worried about getting killed by manhunters and stuff, are you really going to go off with a strange man in a limo? But again, I guess we wouldn't have gotten, the story of Lex telling her about oh, so this is why we don't need Superman. But yeah, and then at least in. So yeah, so it's so funny because you also have running commentary during both fights, because during the you see Lex's dialogue through the whole, oh, this is, when Superman's fighting Combator, and then on the bottom it's like, I guess Lois Lois wrote an article about the whole gangbuster fight, so you kind of see her running dialogue through the whole thing, especially when she's like, "Oh, I was like a half hour late meeting Jose Delgado, and he was still there, and most men wouldn't do that." Blah, blah, blah. And then, yes, as they're watching the movie, Combator comes crashing in looking for Lois because again he's trying to draw at Superman. But he grabs Lois. And again, there's kind of similarities between the two battles because, as Combator grabs Lois in real life in Lex's story, Combator grabs like a small child and basically crushes a police car. And then as Superman swoops in, that's when we see Gangbuster come like, swinging in. And then when Superman knocks Combator through a wall, Combator kind of like breaks a wall, like in his fight with Gangbuster. But yeah, I mean, Combator's basically a guy in armor, but it basically makes him super strong, pretty invulnerable too, because I mean, he's taken all of Gangbuster's blows, and he even throws a chunk of concrete at his head and stuff. And then Gangbuster basically gets his nunchucks like around the Combator's neck and gets thrown through like a restaurant window. So yeah, well, like I said in the summary, well, in the Lex story, Superman hurls a cab at Combator. In this one, Gangbuster basically drives a cab in the Combator, who basically kind of shrugs it off. And then, like I said, Gangbuster pulls out a stun gun, which he kind of drops in the battle, but then a kid picks it up for him and throws it to him, and Gangbuster shocks him. And like you said, he basically had heart failure and passed out, but he falls right on Gangbuster, so that's how he like injures his legs, his back, whatever you want to say. That's pretty much how Lois's story her article ends, basically saying that. And how's the ending? Here it is. The doctors say he'll never walk again. Well, stay tuned, kids. That's gonna be a little ongoing thing too. But yeah, Superman was basically sitting in Lex's office waiting for him, and yeah, like you said, he throws Gangbuster's helmet to Lex. He's like, the helmet is part of the uniform of a hero, Luthor. Maybe that's a concept you have difficulty understanding, but while you played your little mind games with Celia Windward, oh yes, Lex, I know all about that. This hero stood alone against your agent. I know Combator came from you. Well, yeah, because there's always every week there's like either like a robot or a guy in armor or something, and yeah, if it's like unless it's like this. Like we did the Circle and like the Fearsome Five and stuff, and Mixpidalic, and I can go on and on and on. But yeah, if it's not like an actual superpowered person, if it's like technology, at this point it's Lex. So, well, once again, Superman pretty much in close proximity to Lex. I don't see that kryptonite ring again. All right, kids. Here's what subtlety goes out the window. Yeah, it's almost like, why has Lex stopped wearing that ring? I don't know. All right, so I know you probably get sick of me rambling on without the other two, but yes, that's our Millennium crossover. I hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, hopefully the boys should be back next time. And again, hopefully, if you weren't entertained, that hopefully you were at least informed about Millennium, especially people who may not have been familiar with Millennium. All right, so I'm going to open this schedule here, and while I'm opening this, yeah, if anyone's reading like the current Superman stuff, send us some emails on that too, because like I'm enjoying it. Like the Jason Aaron Action Comics stuff with Bizarro, I'm really liking that. Well, in the regular Superman book, is it Joshua Williamson? Again, great stuff. So yeah, if you have if you're reading the current stuff, send us your thoughts on that. We'll discuss it, because I don't know if Justin's up to date on his Superman, but I know Tyler is. So yeah, me and Tyler can discuss that. And maybe kind of like shame Justin the reading it. All right, kids. So yes, next time Well, in 1 week, Nightwing News will be, when you hear this, Nightwing News will be back. Kristen and I will cover the new issues, which will basically be Nightwing 112 and Titans number 9, I believe. And then in 2 weeks, Kristen and I will cover the first 7 issues of the new 52 Nightwing series. All right, and then in 3 weeks, Electric Mullet will be back, and me and the boys will cover Action Comics 597, Superman 15, and Adventures of Superman 438, which is the first post-crisis appearance of someone else, another villain, Brainiac. Yes, we're finally at Brainiac. I can't wait. And then in the week after that, we'll cover Action 598, Superman 16, and Adventures 439. So yes, so for the month of April, yes, the two episodes for the month of April, we'll kind of get back to doing that month's Superman, Adventures of Superman, and Action Comics annuals. So yeah, so we're kind of back the pattern we were on for a while there. All right, so like I said, next time you hear Electric Mullet, we will be getting to the first post-crisis appearance of Brainiac. I cannot wait. All right, so kids, send us, like I said, all your thoughts on, Millennium or the upcoming Superman's stuff we're going to do, or like I said, even the current stuff. Send me your thoughts. Do you like it? Do you think, are there too many super family members at this point? Do you love the big family? Again, send us your thoughts. Again, I have a bunch of prizes here. Send me some feedback. I can send you a prize. And how do you do that? Well, you can do one of two ways. You can either email us, CapesandLunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail, 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And you can always find all of our social media, past episodes of this show and other shows on the Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. Merchandise, if you want to help support us and show your love of the Capes and Lunatics, you can get t-shirts, phone cases, cups, like tumblers. They got stickers. I'm trying to remember, they might have again, the site we use, they're always adding new products. So yeah, please buy some merch. And again, one of my co-host Lilith Hellfire's favorite methods, if you just want to rain random money on us, use the Cash App link.
Make it rain.
And of course, the Patreon, where Lilith Hellfire and I have been trying to think outside the box, and we've been talking more non-comic book stuff. So yeah, if you want to hear us, most of our shows are about comics and superheroes, like I said, comics or movies or TV shows. But yeah, if you want to hear us talking about stuff like a little outside our wheelhouse, subscribe to the Patreon, and you help support all these shows. So, and again, 2024, we're getting wilder, we're getting crazier, it's getting
more vicious and brutal than ever.
So find it all at tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/Capes and Lunatics Podcast Network. All right, kids. So yes, thank you for putting up with me on my own. Hopefully you weren't too bored with just my voice. And again, there was a lot of information to take in. 5 issues, and again, what the heck was the Millennium event? Like I said, I hope if not entertaining, I hope I was at least informative. And again, next 2 weeks will be the nightly news, and then when Electric Mullet returns, we will cover Superman 15, Adventures of Superman 438, and Action Comics 597. Like I said, the first appearance of post-crisis Brainiac is in there. All right, kids. Thanks for joining us again. Boys should be back next time. We've defeated the Manhunters. And until then, remember, keep the truth, justice, and the Mullet way.